Hey, what's up, everybody? So, nice bounce back in the stock market today. Almost recouping all of the losses from yesterday. Once again, proving you have to buy fear. I keep telling everybody that. Yesterday, I did a video. I said, you can't just keep jumping in and out whenever there's some announcement or somebody says something. You're going to get chopped up to ribbons. Whoever sold yesterday because, Trump now is going to levy tariffs on another $200 billion worth of Chinese products. Boom, they sold down at the bottom. Today it's up. I mean, I don't understand how you people think you're going to achieve anything with that kind of approach. It just does not work. Okay, now you have to know what you're doing. You have to have an understanding. You have to have a strategy, which means you have to have a way to execute that understanding. Okay, and you have to have the mental aspect, which is far and away the most important element in success. I've said this many times on these videos. I could make money throwing darts at a dartboard. You can't, because you don't have the mental game. Well, most of you don't. My people do, or are developing the mental game. You know, I have a lot of people who drop out too. They come to me, I think in their minds it's a kind of a fantasy. Oh, I'm going to be a trader. I'm going to be a successful trader. MMT sounds so enticing. It's the correct and concise understanding of the monetary system and how it functions. That's all I'm going to need. Once I understand how the monetary system functions, like Mike said, I could take all the zombies' money. Nuh-uh, you can't. And I've seen this time and time again. I have people come to me very, very enthusiastically, thinking they finally found that holy grail in MMT and my teachings, but they don't want to develop the mental game. And that is like developing your body physically. That is like going to the gym. That's like working out. That's like being fit. Your mind, without mental game and coming into this activity of trading, your mind is like a big, obese, out of shape person. And these people come in thinking they're going to run the 100-yard dash in under 10 seconds, but they're big and obese and out of shape as a metaphor for their mind. Okay, their mind is big and fat and obese and out of shape. And when it gets tough, we're doing those drills every day, and then sometimes it might be you got to run that 100-yard dash 5 times in a row, or you got to do a marathon, and they're like, no, I'm quitting. I don't like the discomfort. But that's exactly what it is. I cannot put it in any better sort of analogy. The understanding is fantastic. Being educated and knowledgeable is fantastic. It's something everybody should endeavor to shoot for. I mean, you should always try to learn, and you should always try to improve your body of knowledge and expand your body of knowledge, and that's fantastic, and that's the whole MMT teaching. But if you think you come in here armed with MMT and you're going to be a successful trader, and by the way, the reverse is also applicable too. For those of you who are unaware, I knew guys when I was a trader on the exchange, they didn't know anything about economics. Nobody knew about MMT at that time. It was the 1980s, 1990s. Nobody knew anything about MMT. I didn't know anything about MMT. In fact, my whole worldview was backward. It was like all these wackos, who believe that we're broke and everything else. But these guys on the floor, even though they didn't know anything about economics, nothing, they weren't even interested, they were killers as traders. Why? Because they had the mental game. I saw it in action. I saw these guys in the pits who used to have firms like Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs and Salomon Brothers at the time and Merrill Lynch, just having spotters in the pits telling the traders upstairs what these guys were doing. These guys single-handedly, single individual traders, putting fear into these giant Wall Street investment banks. It was unbelievable, and they were making money. These guys were unbelievable. Why? They had mental game. They didn't know anything about MMT. So just, getting the MMT is great. Expand your knowledge. But if you think you're going to do it with a fat, obese, lazy, out of shape mental game, mind that is, and if you are averse to a little discomfort, sometimes a lot of discomfort. You're not going to make it. You're not going to make it, and then you're going to go looking for the system fairy. The system fairy doesn't exist. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, I love when people come on here and, rather than try to learn something, they take some kind of a smug attitude, and in doing so, they really just expose their ignorance. Now, I've spoken many times about how the United States doesn't have any debt in the traditional sense of debt. The 20 trillion or 21 trillion in treasuries outstanding, those are dollars held in the form of a security that has a term, in other words, 5-year, 2-year, 30-year, and a coupon, an interest payment, but they're fully convertible into dollars. They're the same thing. All right? So people make comments like, oh yeah, Mike, well, that fake debt, don't we pay interest on it? Well, yeah, we pay interest on it. We pay interest on it because we decided to pay interest on it, just like we decide to spend, I don't know how many trillions on military, or pay people Social Security, retirement money, or pay for education. It's a decision by the government, all right? Now, back in the day when we were on a gold standard, there was a function, a need, a necessity for the sale of treasuries, because the government could only issue money in some quantity relative to the amount of gold that it held. And that gold was exchangeable. The government had to hand over that gold. If people presented the dollars, it was convertible. In other words, if you had $1,000 and you went to the government and said, give me $1,000 worth of gold right now, the government had to give you its gold, and then it would constrain its ability to create money. So what they did was they issued securities, in those days gold certificates, which eventually became treasury securities, to take away the cash, the dollars, and people held those securities so as to curtail or otherwise limit the ability of the public holding dollars to demand the government's gold. But newsflash, we went off the gold standard. And by the way, in order to entice people to hold those securities back in the gold standard day, the government paid an interest rate. All right? It made it interesting for people to give up their cash, dollars, and hold the gold certificates because they earned a rate of interest. Newsflash, we're no longer on the gold standard, but this activity of issuing treasuries keeps going on. It's a totally non-essential act. And basically what it is, it's really kind of like a subsidy to more or less affluent people. I don't know too many poor people that hold lots of treasuries. So it's a payment. It's kind of a welfare payment to institutions and rich people. The interest that we pay, that the government pays. And it's just like the government making a decision to spend $1 trillion on war, or, $800 billion on Social Security or whatever. It could stop the sale of treasuries any day. It would not make any difference whatsoever in its ability to spend. So yeah, we pay interest because that was a decision made a long time ago, and it remains in effect today, even though it's an anachronism, it's outdated, and it shouldn't happen. So when you come here and you post up things, it's much better, folks. I'm not yelling at you, but it's much better to listen and learn instead of asking stupid things that just expose your ignorance. That's all I want to say. Have a nice day. Bye.